which is a drone of compassion that automatically heals those near it over time. Of the care package, you can then call in a drop full of high-quality defensive gear. Our bio says that Lifeline isn't someone you would expect to find in the Apex games. Once the child of wealthy war profiteers, she left home when she learned of the damage her family had caused and enlisted in the Frontier Corps, a humanitarian organization that aids frontier communities in need. She's since devoted her life to helping others and joined the Apex games to fund the Frontier Corps with her winnings. Since no one in the games is innocent, they all know what they signed up for, and every one of her victories means help for those in need, and as a result, Lifeline has no problem engaging in the popular blood sport, or so she tells herself. She may seem sarcastic and callous, but deep down she wants to help people and make the world a better place. If that means taking a few people down in the process, so be it. Pathfinder's role is the forward scout. His passive ability is insider knowledge, which will scan a survey beacon to reveal the ring's next location. His active ability is the grappling hook, which allows you to grapple to get out of breach places quickly, and his ultimate ability is the zipline gun, which creates a zipline for everyone to use. Pathfinder is a picture of optimism despite his circumstances. A MRVN, or Mobile Robotic Versatile Entity, modified to specialize in location scouting and surveying, he booted up decades ago in an abandoned laboratory with no idea who created him or why. With only his MRVN designation to hint at his identity, Pathfinder set off in search of his creator. Pathfinder has learned much in his travels since, like how to make a mean Eastern Leviathan stew, but hasn't come any closer to finding his creator. Still, he never's given up hope and has joined the Apex games to gain a following and hopefully draw the attention of his maker. In the meantime, he remains enthusiastic and helpful, always ready to make new friends, and then shoot them. His role is the interdimensional skirmisher. Her passive ability is the Voices from the Void, which you can hear voices when danger approaches. The active ability is Into the Void, which will allow you to reposition quickly through the safety of a void space, avoiding all damage. The ultimate ability of the Dimensional Rift will allow you to link two locations with portals for 60 seconds. Wraith is a whirlwind fighter able to execute swift and deadly attacks and manipulate space-time by opening rifts in the fabric of reality. But she has no idea how she got this way. Years ago, she woke up in an IMC detention facility for the mentally ill with no memory of her life before. She also began hearing a distant voice whispering in her mind that would keep her awake for days on end. Despite nearly driving her insane, once she started to listen to it and trust it, the voice helped her harness the newfound power of void manipulation and escape the facility. Determined to uncover her true identity, Wraith began a quest to find out more about the experience. Many of the old research facilities, however, are buried beneath heavily guarded arenas used for the Apex games. Now, Wraith has joined the competition, and with every match, she gets closer to the truth. Bangalore is a professional soldier. Her passive ability is Double Time, which will allow you to take fire while sprinting, making you faster for a brief period of time. The active ability is the Smoke Launcher, which will fire a high-velocity smoke canister that explodes into a smoke wall on impact, great for getting out of sticky situations. And the ultimate ability is the Rolling Thunder, in which you can call in an artillery strike that slowly creeps across the landscape. Born into a military family where she, her parents, and her 4 older brothers all served in the IMC Armed Forces, Bangalore has been an exceptional soldier since she was young. She was a top of her class at the IMC Military Academy, and the only cadet who could take apart a peacekeeper, equip it with a precision choke hop-up, and put it back together in under 20 seconds, blindfolded. 3 years ago, Anita and her brother Jackson were ordered to retrieve a mercenary fleet from the Outlands to aid in the IMC's fight against the militia. However, their unit lost contact with IMC HQ and were ambushed on arrival. The squad scattered, but Jackson stayed behind to give his sister time to escape. Alone and with no way home, Anita put her training, extensive weapon knowledge, and competitive spirit to work by joining the Apex games. Now she fights to raise money for passage back to the IMC home base, where she hopes to reunite with what remains of her family. Caustic is a toxic trapper. His passive ability is the Nox Vision, which you gain threat vision on enemies moving through your gas. The active ability is the Nox Gas Trap, which can place up to 6 canisters that release deadly Nox gas when shot or triggered by enemies. And the ultimate ability is the Nox Gas Grenade, which will blanket a large area in Nox gas. Before there was Caustic, a scientist named Alexander Knox worked at Humbart Labs, Frontier's leading manufacturer of pesticide gases. With a glut of pesticides needed to protect the growing Frontier colony's crops, Humbart Labs was constantly on the hunt for better and stronger formulas. Knox was one of the brightest scientists and worked day and night developing new gases. But to make sure that they worked, he needed to test them on more than just inert tissue. He needed something living. As he toiled in secret, Knox began to see the beauty in his creations and the ability to destroy anything that he touched. But the head of Humbart Labs soon discovered his gruesome experiments, and their confrontation ended with the lab in flames and its chief dead. Today, Knox is missing and presumed deceased. Caustic, meanwhile, now finds the new test subjects in the Apex games where he puts his gaseous creations to work and observes their efforts with great interest. And finally, Mirage, he's the holographic trickster. His passive ability is Encore, which will automatically drop a decoy and cloak for 5 seconds when knocked down. His active ability is the Psych Out, which will send a holographic decoy to confuse the enemy. And his ultimate is the Vanishing Act, which Mirage then deploys a team of decoys to distract enemies while he cloaks. Mirage is the kind of guy who likes to stand out. The youngest of 4 brothers perfected the art of fooling around to get attention. One thing he took seriously was holopilot technology. Introduced to the illusion-creating tech by his engineer mother, he pored over the mechanisms and learned all he could about them. Even while his brothers went MIA during the Frontier War, Mirage and his mother continued to develop all devices, and the work brought them closer. While working as a bartender to make ends meet, Mirage shared amazing stories from his patrons about the Apex games and the wealth and glory that came with victory. As good as both of those sounded, he knew he couldn't risk leaving his mother childless until she gave him his set of customized holo devices and told him to follow his dream. Mirage is now the life of the Apex games, outwitting opponents and charming audiences across the Outlands. After looking at all 8 legends available in Apex Legends, which character is your favorite and why? Let us know your thoughts down there in the comment section down below, but for more on Apex Legends, be sure to check out some of our previous guides and upcoming guides, either on our website or here on the channel, like whether or not there are microtransactions in Apex Legends, where to download Apex Legends, and whether there's cross-platform support available for the game. That said, let us know your thoughts in the comments down below, drop a like if you enjoyed it, and of course, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and want to stay up to date with all things gaming and all things Apex Legends. But until next time, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the Outlands.
So we all know why you clicked this video. We want to know who the best legends are in Apex Legends Season 3, and I'm going to give you that information. But I also want to make sure that every single person in the world enjoys this somehow. Whether you're a beginner, an average player, an advanced player, an Apex Predator, or, a grandmother somewhere and you just want to hear my smooth, sultry, chocolatey voice to serenade you to sleep, I'm going to make sure that you get some value in one of those categories. I'm going to explain every single Legend's abilities while also talking about where they face in competitive against one another. So it essentially will be ranking and explaining them one by one. After this, you'll know every single Legend's abilities, you'll know where they stack up in competitive and higher level play, and you'll also know how to utilize some of their strengths to make you a better player overall. And the worst Legend in the top 11 Apex Legends goes to Bamboozle. It's actually Octane. No, it's really Mirage. Yeah, unlucky number 11 goes to Mirage. Although he's extremely fun and one of the marquee characters in the franchise, I just don't feel he offers enough at high level competitive. But let's take a look at his kit. Mirage is one of the most iconic characters in all of Apex Legends, and he's often the centerpiece of most of the cinematics that they do. He's got that charming personality, and he does have that bamboozle element that creates humor, as well as getting the job done, a fun blend of both seriousness and playfulness that attracts a lot of new players. But unfortunately, he stays at the bottom of this list as far as ranked, because it just doesn't bring enough to the team. Mirage's tactical is called Psych Out, and it allows him to send out a holographic decoy to confuse the enemy. This actually is sent in a straight line, but will replicate Mirage, whether he's walking, running, or crouching, and in mid-air will be able to replicate him as well, such as when you're skydiving at the start of a match. It, however, cannot climb walls or ride zip lines. Once it reaches that location, though, it will stand still and perform an inspect weapon animation. If you take damage or the decoy takes damage during that time, an icon will appear indicating where the enemy that damaged it is. That icon appears for Mirage's whole squad, which is one of the valuable assets of information he does provide. His passive is called Encore, and when he's down, he turns invisible for 5 seconds to crawl away. It leaves a decoy that will definitely buy a bit of time, especially if it's a long range down, but unfortunately doesn't do much as far as practically saving him again. It will essentially just delay the inevitable, and possibly if you're at a really weird angle, allow you to drop to a bottom floor of a house, and maybe the team won't see. Lastly, his ultimate Vanishing Act allows Mirage to turn completely invisible for 5 seconds, creating a ring of 6 stationary decoys around where he activates it. The decoys will only move if they attempt to stand over an edge and fall. While he's cloaked, he cannot fire any weapons or use items, no healing, no extra burst, but you do get a little bit more speed. You can cancel out of this cloak ability and then pop up unsuspecting to an enemy. However, your footsteps are still completely hearable. Although his kit is very fun and very beginner-friendly, it doesn't scale well to the high-level players who are expecting bamboozles and able to track your footsteps pretty well as Mirage with just your audio. Overall, I rate him as a very good beginner-friendly legend, but can't scale much higher up in this competitive list. Number 10. Octane. Octane, everybody's favorite drug addict. You know, the one that doesn't ask you for money. However, he does try to kill himself constantly with that stem. The good news is it does make himself 30% faster for 6 seconds, and he regenerates health as his passive Swift Mend. The one reason I put Octane above Mirage is pretty much because of his launch pad. His launch pad gives his teammates a way to access high ground, which is inevitably very important in Season 3, and just in general, having high ground over teams, being able to get to places others can't, and it can't be destroyed after you, so if you want to make it less accessible for teammates to follow you on that jump up. Octane has a couple of nice min-max moments where he can use his stem to actually get out of the slows of the caustic gas or some of the bombardments that happen and kind of get himself back up to a decent speed and maybe make it out of some tricky situations. But the thing that he excels at that puts him at number 10 in this list is because he's aggressive. He's one of the best characters in pubs to just be aggressive and try to find kills. And if you're looking at running away or hunting down someone,